think the very first time that I saw anything from Lynx was the Hilo, and that was goodness, back in like 2012 or 13. And a friend of mine who is a producer, mixer, cool guy, he had one that he would stick in his backpack and he would bring to the studios that he would go to, and then he'd set it up on the table, plug in his headphones. He also brought with him a little 500 series lunchbox thing. So here he is walking around with a full studio in his backpack. And that was extremely impressive to me. I joined a Facebook group, Mastering Engineers Worldwide, which is just sort of a fun forum place where us geeks like to hang out. And a couple of the posts early on in that group was just a thread of show us your fill in the blank. So show us your speakers, show us your EQs, show us your compressors, show us your converters. And so me being the geek that I am, I went through all the pictures with a pen and paper and started tallying how many times do I see this piece of gear show up, right? So I had a long list of all the different converters. And then when I saw a duplicate, it gets tally, another tally, another tally, another tally. The list of converters is 20 converters long. And the number one converter that I saw in the most number of pictures was the Hilo. Well, I work part-time at Borza Mastering, which is my own thing. And of course, I work with Howie at Howie Weinberg Mastering. I am sort of a studio coordinator there and also do a lot of the technical stuff. I'm also doing some of the projects and a lot of like all of the quality control and making formats and metadata and finishing and yada, yada, yada. But you could say that every song that has come out of Borza Mastering and Howie Weinberg Mastering in the last 3 years has at least been monitored through the Hilo, right? At least it has been, if not converted and whatnot through that, but it's been monitored through the Hilo. It's been metered through the Hilo, sending stuff this way. Between Howie Weinberg Mastering and Borza Mastering, 2,100 something songs came across this desk and this Hilo. Just recently, we did a Billy F. Gibbons record from ZZ Top, and that was super fun. The most recent Deftones record was great, super fun to work on. We also did a remaster of The White Pony and some remixes off of that. Gary Clark Jr., that won a couple Grammys. Foster the People, every once in a while throws some singles our way. Those are always great because, the production quality is just like through the roof. 30 Seconds to Mars, that got me a gold record. That's cool. Tenacious D. Always fun. Recently, some of my favorite that I did was Scary Pockets, which is a lesser known group, but they have a lot of fun. They mostly do like funky covers of pop songs. The Hilo is hands down the cleanest converter I've ever heard. When it comes to monitoring, that's exactly what I want. When it comes to taking those XLRs off the back and sending them to the Grace and sending them to my speakers, I don't want anything coloring the sound in between there and there. But when it comes to feeding the manly equipment, I have a Thermionic Phoenix out of sight over here, and MVP, a couple other things. It pretty much ended up glued on the dangerous converters because those lended to my ears most musical, not most accurate. Most accurate, definitely Hilo takes the cake, right? And to some other engineers who want most accurate out of their converters, it's exactly the converter for them. I went to school, I went to college to study jazz trumpet, because in high school, that was my favorite thing, was playing trumpet in the jazz band. And within a couple of weeks of getting to the dorms, someone in one of the dorm rooms was making beats in Logic, I don't know, 7 or 6 at the time, or right? And he had a little microphone, a little MIDI keyboard, and he was, using Ultra Beat to design a little beat pattern, and then adding in stuff. And he just built this song right in front of me in 30 minutes. And I was like, forget trumpet, this is what I want to do. Well, I switched majors, got into music industry, and for a short while, I even tried running a full record label that did like 360 degrees. We're going to record, mix, master, and we're going to promote you, and we're going to put on shows, and we're going to book you here, and we're going to book you there, and we're going to make your CD. We're going to put the money up for it because you're going to go on tour and sell it for us. And we netted something like $300, which is not a lot, but we net positive in our record label adventure. So I'm counting that as a win. Eventually, a friend of mine called me and said, hey, I got a new job here at Remote Control in Santa Monica, which is Hans Zimmer's production company. And he said they're looking for an in-house mastering engineer. Are you interested? Yeah, I think I'm interested. That'd be okay. Sure, let's try it. So I went in. Essentially, it was an audition, basically. Like I said, hey, yeah, try me out. I'm good. So they sent me a record. I mastered it to the best of my ability, which, looking back at it now, is probably not awesome. Around the end of that year, another friend of mine calls and says, hey, there's this guy named Howie Weinberg who needs an assistant. Do you want to meet him? I said yes, and got in touch with Howie. That's my life story. I did not have to get as far as needing to call and speak to a human, because the documentation online that you provide was good enough for what I needed. I bought an M1 Mac when they first came out, and being on the bleeding edge of technology, you start bleeding because nothing works, right? It's just, that's why they call it the bleeding edge. What I needed to do was switch out the Thunderbolt card on the back. I'd take the whole thing apart, pull out the Thunderbolt card, buy a USB card, and install that instead of the Thunderbolt. And there was plenty of instruction on the Lynx website on how to do it safely, how to do it correctly, steps to take to make sure that you do it as cleanly and correctly as possible. So yeah, just kind of followed those steps, unplugged everything, took the top off, installed the new USB version, and worked on the first go.